One July morning in 1995, billions blinked into life on a screen, then vanished like steam. The alarms screamed too late. A phantom vault had fed the street, and its architect was already gone. The vault wasn't steel and concrete. It was code, an elegant mirage woven through interbank messages, bouncing from server to server, uninspected because it looked exactly like trust. The first shock was not what was stolen, but what was never there at all. By noon, traders whispered one word: run. Money markets quivered. Overnight lifelines might be built on vapor. Someone had crafted a balance sheet of smoke, pledged as collateral, converting blips into cash. The street held its breath and looked for a villain it could see. A forensic accountant named Maya Ellison and a veteran agent, Thomas Rourke. She trusted ledgers. He trusted people. Both knew fear hides between numbers. Their task? Prove a vault existed, or prove the unthinkable, that it didn't. 1995's internet hummed like a dial tone, slow, hopeful, naive. Banks raced online, wiring fortunes over copper. Security was a promise more than a wall. The heist exploited that promise, building an invisible back room where test messages could masquerade as gold. The stakes were existential. Overnight funding props the street. Remove it, and the day's trades collapse. Pension funds, mortgages, payrolls all lean on that invisible midnight bridge. If the bridge was fog, trust itself would tear. That's how markets bleed.
The architect, a systems prodigy once hired to modernize a mid-sized street bank, then gone freelance. A perfectionist who loved the space between two reconciliations, where reality stutters. No selfies, no footprint, just meticulous gaps. Ellison began with paper. She laid out 3 weeks of interbank messages. Timestamps almost sang, regular as a metronome. Too regular. Real traffic breathes and stumbles. The phantom vault pulsed like a heart trimmed by a metronome's blade. Rourke took the street. A teller in Queens remembered late-night calls about a liquidity test. A night guard recalled a tech with a laminated badge that didn't quite match the template. Friction points appeared like fingerprints dusted in graphite. At a New Jersey data center, Ellison found the hinge. A test environment mirrored production too closely. Dummy messages wore real headers, then wrote a maintenance window into the live stream. The vault wasn't a place, it was a shadow cast by permissions. The balances that lured lenders were born from that shadow. Pledged as collateral to overnight counterparties, they released real cash. In the morning, the phantom unwound, but the cash had already walked, clean and confident, into shell accounts worldwide. To prove intent, Ellison needed the ghost's signature, something human inside the code. She found a time drift. Every phantom pulse arrived 9 seconds after the atomic clock ticked midnight. An elegant ego, leaving a fingerprint in the rhythm of time.
Rourke traced hardware. The liquidity test tech had leased a closet-sized rack in Hoboken under a shell company. Payment in cashier's checks. The lease required a pager number. Old world arrogance meant new world breadcrumbs. He dialed. It chirped, far away. A tip cracked open motive. The architect had pitched modernization, denied by risk officers who feared the future. He built it anyway, in secret, as proof, and as leverage. If the bank wouldn't pay for the bridge, he'd charge the travelers crossing it. Ellison and Rourke set a snare. They would inject a harmless anomaly into the phantom's night tide, a counterfeit, unique, traceable. If it appeared downstream as collateral, they'd follow the wire to the ghost's last relay. Midnight. A maintenance window opened like a stage curtain. Ellison slipped the tag into the stream. 2 bits out of place. Invisible to bankers. Obvious to her. Then, silence. Fans droned. Somewhere, a thief inhaled. Unaware a red thread now clung to him. By dawn, the tag surfaced in Nassau. A boutique private bank pledged a block of overnight paper that bore Ellison's tiny scar.
Rourke saw the corridor. New York to Hoboken to Nassau to a shell in Curacao. Each hop scrubbed, but not clean enough. The street grew restless. Word leaked. A prime broker demanded proof of liquidity or it would pull accounts. Phones rang without pause. Markets fear mathematics less than rumor. The Phantom was now a character in a parable told between elevators.
At JFK, Customs flagged a traveler with cash equivalents just under declaration limits, multiple one-way tickets, and a pager chirping every 9 seconds. He wasn't the architect, but a courier. Pressure makes networks surface their edges. The courier led to a storage unit in Red Hook, drives packed in anti-static sleeves labeled with months, backups of the shadow, and one microcassette, voicemail dumps. A voice, flattened by tapes, counted off midnight beats, 9 seconds apart. Ellison mapped the architect's longing, not cash, but authorship. He wanted the system to admit it needed him. He left loops in the code that only he could close. The Phantom Vault was also a business card, printed in light and obligation. The trail forked. Curacao went cold. Nassau warmed. The architect sensed the tag and shifted routes, using correspondent banks in Toronto and Santiago. Rourke saw it, a man who ran not in straight lines, but in circles just wide enough to feel straight. To end it, they had to pull him into daylight. Ellison proposed a stunt, offer a new corridor, a faster bridge promising lower latency, seated inside a partner bank's upgrade. A spider web of zeros, spun from glass. If he bit, they'd see his teeth. They launched the decoy. Midnight came. Nothing. 1, 2, 9 seconds. Then a ripple, tiny, hungry. The Phantom probed the new path like a blind fingertip on glass. Rourke whispered, "Gotcha." The red thread brightened across 3 jurisdictions.
Tickets popped. A seat to San Juan, purchased minutes after the probe. The architect favored islands. Less noise, more shoreline. Rourke called the gate. Ellison called the bank in Puerto Rico to hold the decoy's end, bait glittering in warm water. San Juan's heat hugged the runway as the architect stepped into a rented sedan, hair cropped, posture careful. The pager on his belt blinked every 9, metronome heartbeat. He drove toward a bank that didn't yet exist, except as a promise of speed. Inside the partner branch, the decoy corridor pulsed. The architect sent the pull instruction. Ellison hit record. Rourke's team waited outside, engines ticking. Then a surprise. He injected a kill script back toward New York, aiming to erase the mirror. Ellison countered with paper, manual fail-safes the architect despised. She pulled the network plug and slapped in a tape. The mirror lived on plastic, not light. The kill script died in the gap between decades. Outside, Rourke moved. The doors opened. He ran, down a stairwell into wet heat, across a mosaic of oil and rain. Sirens folded in. That measured stride faltered. Rourke called his name, the only real one they had, spoken once on a microcassette. He paused. 9 seconds, then turned. The arrest was quiet. No speeches, no flair. A man who believed in precision surrendered to it. On a curb, Ellison watched steam rise from the asphalt and thought of bridges. Some you pay to cross, some you pay for not testing hard enough.
Back in New York, the Phantom Vault dissolved in court filings. It was never a room. It was a choreography. Investors stared at code excerpts as if at a photograph of a haunted house. The lesson: we audit walls, but trust dances in the air. Laws hardened. Messages got signatures, clocks got synced, tests got fences. Yet the oldest vulnerability remained: belief. The architect's Phantom Vault taught a century to ask where value lives and who whispers that it's there at all. Do you?